Ladies and gentlemen, what a wonderful day it is. It's the 26th of June. It's Wednesday. And do you know what that means? That this is Day 9 Daily number 601, where we learn to be a better gamer. And I turn 27 tomorrow, on the 27th. It's my birthday, June 27th. Same birthday as Helen Keller. Celebrated every year. Yeah! It's going to be so good. I'm out of water, which is unfortunate, but that's fine because I feel sufficiently hydrated to tell you today's topic. In today's daily, we're going to look at a variety of pretty cute, straightforward PvZ builds. Because I know how your brain works. You think, oh yeah, I totally understand and appreciate sophisticated strategy. You're Kermit the Frog now, I'm sorry. Yeah, I know. I watch the daily and I learn how to appreciate the GSL and the WCSs and the MLGs, but when I play, I'm all in. I understand how it works, right? I truly, deep down in my heart of hearts, get how that goes, because if you don't have enough time to practice your fundamentals, if you don't have enough time to carefully work out kinks and be watching your mini-map and not forgetting your pylons, that sort of thing can be a real pain in the ass when you're in the ladder trying to do it, so these builds are nice for that. So we're going to look at ideally 4 games today. Maybe 3 because I'm unusually talkative. But basically 4 games, and we'll go through the PvZ edge. I'm at MLG this weekend. I'm going to drive down on Thursday. Yes, my birthday, but I like MLG, so it's fine to be working there. So I'll be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Please tune into the MLG Spring Championships, MLG.tv. I hope to see you there. And if you are able to come to Anaheim, pick up a pass, come out, and high-five me. If you see me, just do this. If I'm walking by you, and I'll high-five you. That's how it works. It's in Anaheim, California. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about the PvZ meta. It is, as we would call, very open. There's a lot of possibilities of things you can do. You can go for early expands as Protoss. You can go for gateway first as Protoss. You can do rushes with Robo, Gateway, Dark Templar, Phoenixes, Air Ground. It's all legit, fast, slow, passive play, Mothership Core base play, not Mothership Core base play. There's so many things for us to do that we're going to go ahead and step in here and see a couple of those. And we bring up all those possibilities because we want to identify first how Zergs will be tending to respond. So the big things to consider in this matchup are pretty simple from the Protoss perspective. Allow me to show you how simple it is. Oh, also, Ooh, I really want to be on damaged. Yeah, and, damn it. So, first things first, if we come to the Zerg units, here's the big pain-in-the-ass units. The Roach overwhelming us early, and Mutalisks coming up at any point at all and being a pain in the ass. Those are our early game considerations. There are late game considerations like Swarmhost, Corruptor, Broodlord. We're not even going to talk about them in today's daily because these are cute, easy PvZ builds. So as you look down here, first question comes right off the bat. What are Zergs normally doing nowadays? Not 6 to 10 pools, broadly and bluntly. They're just not doing that. Why? Because we can go gateway first in our main base. We could be early expanding. There's a huge range of things that we could be doing as Protoss, so Zergs by and large don't really want to be committing to any one of those. So right off the bat, we can see why first is doing what he's doing. A Nexus first build. Now on this map, it's not just, well, he's not going to 6-pool me, so there's a little bit more thought to it than that. So what we'll actually see first do is he chrono boosts out his probers as fast as he can. He's re-rallying to make sure they're all beautifully paired and not doing any of this lateral motion. Goodness no, none of that. And then as probe 15 comes out, he rallies. And sends this probe out to scout about. So this is kind of to be anticipated. Now for any of you who don't know some pretty standard timings, I'm going to come back to 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Oh, it will let me go to 2:10. Well, great. I'll go to 2 minutes and 10 seconds then. Replay rewind is a little finicky. 2:10 to 2:20 is when players will be planting this hatchery. I say 2:10 to 2:20 because there's some deviation that can occur depending on how well you pair up your workers, but 210 to 220 is pretty common, or as we like to call it, 215. So as we see our Protoss buddy moving out right now, he should be thinking, okay, hatch first can be going down right now. If it wasn't hatch first, if it was pool first, the pool would be done, or Jesus, the pool would be halfway done in most standard games. So if Zerg is playing non-cheesy bullshit, there's no way for his pool to even be remotely close to done. It'll only be half done by now. Normal pools finish at 3 minutes. Normal pools finish at 3 minutes. A very useful timing to know. So I spent a little bit of time noting these because by and large you're not going to be up against cheesy shenanigans. This probe is to encounter cheesy shenanigans on the way across. Very nice that we are on a 2-player map so we can scout that out. I'm in a good mood. This is, it's my birthday soon, so I'm getting ready to sing. So we see some pretty typical things. The 17 forge, the 17 pylon. But what's next? Oh, should he build a probe or should he wait? Well, he hasn't seen any lings yet, so he's just going to go ahead and build the probe. This is pretty important to note. You should be seeing lings already. Like, by 3, you should be seeing some lings coming out at you. So, at this point, even before we have scouted our Zerg opponent, we know there's no lings coming. We know there's no lings coming. Because if there were, we would have seen it. We would have seen it. So very fortunately for first, he identifies, wow, there's a hatchery here, but that's fine. He was already intending to build his gateway first. I do think these are pretty significant. These aren't just little juicy things, like, oh, I went for 16 gas instead of 17. It's not tiny dumb stuff like that. It's real significant, the fact that not only is first able to still make probes, but he's chrono boosting probes. Look at this, probe number 20, before even considering saving up money for a cannon. Look at that money. Look at how high that money is. So indeed, first is going to see the rather traditional Zerg look, which is the infamous hatch first with an early gas and an early pool. Hatch first being the big one. And these hatches should finish around 4. I know 350 is a little bit more appropriate, but around 4 is when it should be wrapping up, if he has gone hatch first. So, watch this. Look at these really simple timings. Your brain is just going to be so organized after this. If he goes pool hatch, his pool should finish at 3 minutes. If he's going hatch pool, his hatch should finish at 4 minutes. Don't you love rounding? Now all of a sudden, if you scout in his base and you're at like 320 and his hatch is only just starting, you know he went pool first. If you scout his pool and it's at like, it's halfway done at 3 minutes, you know he went hatch first. So you can sort of do the reverse logics too. But of course I know you didn't care about logics at this point in time. You care about cheesy BS, which is what today's topic is. First, still bold and brave and tried and true, double gas before a cannon. My God, first is being so bold and brave in all things beginning with the letter B because he saw his opponent going for hatch first. Yes. If his opponent went pool first, maybe sneak in the cannon, maybe not, depending on what you're scouting. And this probe will have a really good sense of what's up, thanks to the scout. Getting away with oh so much. And look at this back at this front. Pretty significant expenditure on chrono boost. I know we actually can afford a chrono boost right now, but it's pretty common to get your cybernetics core up first before you go hog wild with all the chronos. So we see a probe coming up, and probes coming up, and a zealot coming up. Now this is where I want to pause, and I want to go to the Zerg's side of things to note kind of how things will end up looking. There's 2 things that go on right now. Let me pull back to here. 410. What's happened at 410 from a Zerg's point of view? If he goes hatch first. Well, not much, right? And that is the correct answer. Not much. Against early expands, Zergs generally want to take this third. If a Zerg player is feeling very hesitant, in other words, if he goes for Zergling speed, a bunch of drones, and then wants to take this third. 6 minutes is his general timing. If he does anything before that, then he's either cutting Zergling speed or he's cutting drones. Simple as that. 6 minutes this generally starts. So let's actually go ahead and watch our Zerg player for about 2 minutes before we rewind back and see anything that Protoss is doing. Because what Protoss is doing doesn't matter unless we have a good sense of what Zerg is and can be doing. So we see, oh wow, this went down before 6 minutes. It's actually going down closer to 5. What's going on in the main base? Ain't no speed. And in fact, in the unit count, we see there's some larvae hanging about. And we actually see, oh wow, look at that. Lenok actually got a creep tumor. This is one of the most subtle but significant things ever. By building this creep tumor, Lenok has cut out a bunch of larvae that he would not have been able to spend money with. So it's very easy to look at Lenok, especially right now, and go, well, he's got everything. He's got speed. He's not missing any larvae. I mean, he has 4, but he's going to be able to spend that soon. And he has an expansion up. He's a superhero. No, he just didn't do his first inject. A very important first inject for many Zergs. So, we, as the Protoss pieces, are going to let him do this. Let's go ahead and come back and see all the sexy stuff that we're going to be doing over in first base. Okay, cool. So we're going to be coming back to this moment when the cybernetics core came out. And our zealot comes out. Yeah. If you're feeling like you have to hurry for something, the best way to hurry as Protoss is to cut chronoing. Not to cut probe production, but to cut chronoing. So cutting chronoing to get the cybernetics core out. Man, I've been way too ballsy. Let me cut chronoing to get this zealot out. But then back to probe production in full, and then all of a sudden when we're not under pressure, that's when we see chronoing come back in. And there should be a chrono here soon, unless I misremembered. Well, that's fine. I'm more than content to misremember every now and again. So this probe, by the way, hidden probes, very common. Most of the time people hide probes here, or hide it here, or something like this. I think this is one of the cleverest probe hides ever. Oh, so brilliant. And moving out. More probe chronoing. 3 in each gas geyser. Cyber core. Sentry is going to be coming up momentarily as well. Stoink. Now, this will vary on the map, so I'm not going to talk about the time that this probe moves out. I'm going to talk about the time that this probe arrives. This probe is arriving when? Around 6 minutes. Because this immediately lets us know, man, this guy must have cut some serious beeswax to be able to do this. So excellent. I'm going to note some consequences. Timing-wise, we're seeing this go down at 5:45. Great. How the hell is First able to do this? He went sentry and then he threw this down. Most of the time players have to cut this sentry to be able to get the gas. Where the hell did this gas come from? Well, I'd like to bring you back to this 3-minute mark when we saw First able to scout his opponent, see that he was going hatch first, and then build these geysers before cannon. Geysers before cannon. This is where the extra gas is coming in. So as we go to 6 minutes with our friendly Stargate down, we can definitively see how we're actually able to do this at all. This is where I'm going to start going a little bit faster, a little bit more accelerated pace for this early stage, because there's really not that much more notable to see. I mean, our probe's hiding in, he thinks a sneaky spot, but he's totally frickin' spotted. Gas is coming as soon as we can afford it. After 6, we're going to get a second sentry, because sentries are great. I think, yeah, wow, we actually do get it now. It's pretty insane that, oh no, we don't get it now. Okay. I guess my surprise was legit. Pretty much non-stop probe production, a lot of probe chrono boosting. No chronos on this cybernetics core. And this is where I'm going to start talking about logic of things versus timing of things. In terms of the logic, what's something that we hate? Oops. Yeah, you know what we hate? We hate this thing. We hate the Mutalisk. It's, in fact, so stupidly good that we're going to opt to get Stargates up early. And this is the common Protoss play. Get Stargates to make sure that no matter what, we already have an in-place answer. We're going to start discouraging him from going Mutalisks already. However, this is where we see the modern PvZ emerge. Step one for modern PvZ was going, fucking hate Mutalisks, so I'm just going to go Phoenix straight away. And then the second question is, what does that cause the Zerg to do? He goes Hydras, maybe he'll go Corruptors, things like these. So we start to see the emergence of the instant robo facility. This permits us to get Colossus tech up to deal with Hydras. Generally gas is spent to repel these Phoenixes. So Zergs tend to have a lot of leftover minerals that they'll make Zerglings with, and again, the Colossus, a good answer to that. So this is a nice timing for Phoenix. It's not stupidly early, though this robo facility is very early for when you get Stargate. I've played enough PvZs doing early expand, gateway first Phoenix into robo to tell you straight up this is fast. 7-minute robo after Stargate and with an early sentry. This is pretty crazy. So we see some nice planning also occurring here. Right as we're getting our first Phoenix, we build the pylon that's going to hide things. Yeah. Now, to note, a layer really shouldn't be starting much earlier than 7 minutes for the Zerg player. Sending these Phoenixes out is fine. Sometimes players will hide them, but no big deal. Wow, 3 sentries coming up, big defense. Why such a big defense early? Because what was the other thing that we hate dealing with? The Roach. We're actually kind of cutting our anti-Roach by going for these Phoenixes. So normally the way people deal with Roaches is either getting an early Mothership Core, which you'll kind of note has not even been mentioned in this daily thus far. So we're getting sentries up. Kind of cool to see the Mothership Core cut. Sentries replace it. And also we can kind of go emergency... emergency frickin' whatever the hell it's called. We can go emergency Void Ray if we need be. So we're seeing the Phoenixes scout everything out. You're noticing a warp prism going down. Pretty cool. And this is where we start to see our hidden sneaky pylon come up. Are you starting to see the build gel before your eyes? Yes! 4 more gateways for a total of 5. Mothership Core making a cameo appearance for the first time ever. Look at the Phoenixes. Have really only tried to check on the minimap for Overlords. One Overlord did manage to stay alive in the corner. But the Phoenixes, look at that sweep in mid. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, glory be to map control. 5 is a very nice number of Phoenixes. It makes lifting queens and picking them off very easy. So we've done this optimal set of decisions to get this going as fast as possible. But what is this? We're going to use our Phoenixes to get all of his units out of position so that our Warp Prism can easily warp into his main base and kill stuff off. We can now see why we would elect Newkirk Precinct to do this strategy upon. We have this nice space where there's not a lot of ground units that can possibly be hanging out. So in fact, the last location we sweep is the location where our Warp Prism is going to be. Where is that Warp Prism? Ah, there it is. Found it. 4 sentries. That Zealot, remember those 4 sentries we built at the start? Actually, we built 3 and then we got a warp gate and then we warped 1 in. Yeah, Zealot chills. 4 sentries, come on up. Come on up! Immortal coming out for the just-in-case defense against what? Against, very simply, the Roach. So, I want to note this movement pattern. Move down to the natural pretty quickly. Movement patterns are pretty critical for a lot of high-level builds, such as the one we saw Flash do yesterday. Doesn't even make an attempt to go into the main. I want you to note that this Protoss player didn't even scout the fact that this is a layer, didn't even scout that this was done at all. It's kind of almost a little too obvious when you see it here. How he's like, oh, well, let me kill these off. Let me kill these off. I got a Phoenix. Gonna control that pretty well. Phoenix is moving to the top side. Cool. So I'm going to go through this segment in very fast succession, because we've seen the real brilliant parts of the build at the start with what's being cut where. So I'll just give you this reward. These Phoenixes had to work their way all the way back around again. And the Phoenixes come in. And Mothership Core. Mothership Core is happy to be here because we saw mainly Hydras. If we saw mainly Roaches, we'd leave that Mothership Core back home. That Mothership Core is going to be needed for the defense. First does so much damage that he's in a good enough position to the point where he's winning. Alright, cool. Let's come back to this 9-minute mark in time. Actually, I'll come back a little bit more to 8, and we'll go through this really fast as well. Right around the time that we start our Warp Prism, we're starting +1 attack. Not really seeing too much chronoing on it. We're actually also stopping at 48 probes. We still see a smattering of probes built. See, we're not going just stupidly all in and halting at 44. Things are looking very nice. Back home, we get ourselves the Immortal. We're going to get ourselves a Robo Facility in a bit here. We see our +1. No real chronos going down. Chronos actually being saved up quite a bit for this sort of key transition moment. So this is where things start being chronoed at home. We just get a Robo Bay. We can identify what our opponent's doing. More sentries getting morphed in back home because we're going to need a pretty high amount of force fields for the upcoming push. With our remaining minerals, we just get a whole bunch of gateways and we begin chronoing out this Colossus stuff to be able to make a push. Now, we could actually expand right now, but we can just identify weakness, smell blood in the water, and literally the attack shows up and Leenock leaves. A cute PvZ build. A solid PvZ build nonetheless. When we come back in part 2, we're going to see another cute PvZ build. And in fact, we're going to see 4 total, and all of them will have the same basic ideology underlying them. We open Phoenix first to block against Mutalisks, which does just the slightest of manipulations to him that we exploit. Stay tuned for part 2 after this. On a break. Oh my god, I know what music I want to play.